Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So this video today is all about crocheting flowers. Now, gosh, talk about go down rabbit holes. The beautiful Kate, now her channel is Kate in the Nest, is always harvesting bits and pieces to create her projects, whether it be something for the Roxy Journal of Stitchery project, field notes, or a pouch or a bag. She's just amazing at how she curates her pieces together. So in the process of all that, she's been applying to some of her projects little crocheted flowers and has been crocheting flowers herself. And for me, a crocheter from the past, I couldn't help myself. I had to get the old hook out. Now, I did a video last week where I was showing you some yarn I'd purchased, and my plan was to use that yarn to stitch into my projects. And here is the sample still where I was stitching it in. And it's a 4-ply yarn that can actually be broken down into 4 little pieces, which gives you really good control over the thickness of the stitch. So that put aside, during that video, this crocheting thing happened. I tell you, talk about rabbit holes that come at you from sideways. This is how it all started. I had made my mum a scarf linking together these flowers. Now this is 8-ply yarn that I picked up from Spotlight that had a similar tone. There was a burgundy one as well. The scarf is now back with me and is wrapped around the neck of my teddy bear. So then in amongst that video, I'm like, well, I better find the pattern for you guys, thinking it was a pattern I had printed off at some stage. And all I found was my scribble. I thought, oh, gee, now I've gone down a rabbit hole. Does the scribble work? Does it actually match that? I quickly stitched it, and then I wrote this in that video so that you guys could see the pattern. I will do the same again. I will put this in the description of this video, so if you did want to stitch it, you can. So here we go, down that rabbit hole. I thought, well, these are too big and chunky for my slow stitch project. So I started thinking about looking at yarns that I had in my stash. And a lot of these I've picked up from thrift stores, just colours I liked. And I thought, well, they're cotton. And a couple of them have labels, so which is great. 4-ply cotton. And that produced the most of these. And I just started stitching. And I quickly remembered why I gave up on the big crocheting projects, because I was getting pain in my wrist. That repetitive movement was really aggravating the wrist. So the girl needs to be just a little careful, no jumping into big projects. Like I'd love to do one of those bags that Kate is doing where she's ripping fabrics up and crocheting a bag. But the wrist pain reminded me that settle down. Don't be going down that crocheting rabbit hole again. So in the process of going, these are brilliant, pattern works, I then went further afoot and I found these little scraps, and it is this brand. I believe it is still available. I bought it at Spotlight or Lincraft for the Aussie girls. It is 50% acrylic and 50% cotton. So it's got a little bit of a lustery feel to it. It's probably more slippy than these guys, which are 100% cotton. So they worked in here. There's one and there's one. These little guys are the cotton. So slightly different in size, but I think that's where we need to be, that finer thread to do this project. Now I haven't got a purple one, so that's why we're here. I'm going to actually stitch one or crochet one with you. So I'm just going to move some of this stuff to the side because I've shown you what I wanted to show you. Then I found these little scraps, and this is a cotton cashmere blend. And oh my goodness, this was beautiful to stitch. Out of all of them, it's still 4-ply and it's still nice and fine. If I was to pop this on my cheek, do the cheek test, it's beautiful. And this little fellow made a gorgeous little flower. So I pretty much stitched one of all of them So it was a good sampler. And now I've got this like little collection of flowers I can use for future projects. That's a cotton one. That's a cotton one. That's a cotton one. You can see how this sort of came to be. And that's a cotton one. So those little ones there. These were some scrap bits of cotton that was sitting on my desk. And that one is part of the cashmere collection there. So let's make a little bit of room. The cashmere collection, the cotton collection, and then this gelato is where they've mixed a nylon. Was it nylon? Let's have a look at that tag again. Acrylic slash, and we're yet to do the purple one. So that's the process. And it's been great working within the colour range. I'm going to put those like that. So I've got to arrange myself. They're just generals. And this guy, he is also a cotton, but there wasn't much on the skein. And I said to my husband, it was like, oh, it was midnight and I was crocheting these things. And I was like, oh, I wonder if there's enough for one. And I got one out, and then he looked over and he said, you've still got a little bit left. And I said, I know, I'm playing crocheting chicken, we call it, when you think you can get that last bit to the end of the pattern before your thread runs out. It's called crocheting chicken. I got another one and another one and another one, and that's what was left. So I was actually quite surprised how small the amount of yarn is that you need to do this project. So there you go. Now, what I want to do is crochet one of them with you. Then to the side here, oh, it just never ends, I tell you. Another rabbit hole. I'll show you what I did with some of these. So let's begin. Now, first thing I want to say is I'm a self-taught crocheter. I do not use the correct terms. This is not a tutorial. If you want a tutorial from a professional crocheting person that uses the exact words, go elsewhere. What I do when I'm teaching crocheting to friends and family who wish to know, I try to teach it to Susanna, but she dodged me all week and it just never happened. But I'm going to get you, Susanna. We're going to learn this because I think you'll find that you'll, enjoy it. I use sentences that sort of tell me a story so I remember the pattern. Now, this is going to be so odd for you purists out there, but I think we all sort of do it. Once you get a pattern and you start going through it a few times, you tend to create a bit of a rhythm, and then that pattern's with you. It becomes muscle memory, if that makes sense. So I do apologise up front for the purists who will be just shaking their heads. Now, I may even say the wrong word. When it's a double crochet, I might say a single crochet. I don't know. Hang on for the ride. So step one, and these, look at my dodgy notes, seriously. Step one, chain 5. Look, my finger is shaking. I'm nervous. I never get nervous. Oh, I'm going to create a slip stitch on my hook. Calm down, Corrine. This is not rocket science. No one will care if it's a bodgy looking thing with errors in it. Oh my goodness. Okay, concentrate. Chain 5 and then slip stitch together. So a chain 5 is just the basic little crocheting stitch. Like I said, this is not a tutorial, but I might zoom the camera in. So even if you haven't crocheted for a while, you can at least see what my hands are doing. I might just put that pattern up there so it's not interfering. We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chain. If this is something you think you could do, go and learn the basic stitches and then come back to me and go, righto, let Corrine mess me up completely. But I think you guys can do it. So I just did that slip knot again. Let's do it again. We're not a tutorial, but I'm going to show you again. I wrap it around and pull it through and then lasso it onto my hook. Now, how you hold your thread is entirely up to you. There's so many different ways of doing it out there. I find that I tend to do that. I then come in and anchor the little knot so it doesn't slip around. This is that technique. This is where I see people struggle the most, is you've really got to find your groove, and there's different ways of holding the hook, like pencils, like chopsticks, like a stick you pick up off the ground, really relaxed. It really is up to you. You'll find your rhythm, but probably this hand is the one you need to focus on to get it, ready to crochet. Oh my goodness. Chain 5, slip stitch together. So we're making the loop in the center of that flower. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See how I just slid my thumb from there up to there? That's just to help stabilize that little tail. Just an instinctual thing that I did then. I'm then going to slip stitch this together, stabilizing it the best I can with my fingers, and that now has created a loop, and I'm ready to crochet. Little tail's going to drop down the back for a moment. Now I'm going to chain 7, same stitch, and that's going to head me up in the air to then come back to the loop and anchor it to create the first of the petals. So we're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, move my thumb up to support it, 6, 7. Okay, now we're going to find the center of that loop that we created and do a double crochet, which is pick up your thread down into the hole, grab your thread again, bring it up and finish your stitch through there and through there. It's always tricky when you get started because everything's sliding away, but that's what I've got. Now we're going to do it again. There's 2 double crochet all the way around to anchor everything down to the center. So let's do another one. Pick up the thread down into that center, grab it, bring it through, and see how we got the 3 on the hook? Bring that through again. Take your time, Corrine, don't rush. And that's given us an actual second double crochet. And that's your first petal. So then we're going to chain 4. Now we needed a 7 to get us up into the air, but to jump across now to finish the rest of our little flower, we only need a chain 4. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, this little guy needs to head towards the center of our flower. And because he wasn't a 7, we need a double crochet to get there. So we're going to pick up our thread. We're going to go through the center, grab that thread through, pick up the thread again, slide it through 2 of those stitches, and then the final 2. So it gives us the spoke, if you will, for our little flower. It'll make more sense in a minute. Now remember I said we always do 2. So let's do another one of those double crochets through there and through there. There we go. We have 2 petals now. And away we go again. Repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Double crochet down into that center. Complete the double crochet stitch, and we need another one, a bit more thread. So let's go again. Pick up your thread into the center, round you go. See, this is the Corrine speech coming into it. It's totally illogical to the purists. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're doing that little jump out again to create the next petal. Let's get some thread happening here. We're then double crocheting down into the center to anchor that little petal. Got him. And we need another one. Do it again. Okay, and we need 6 of these loops. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, down into the center. I'm getting a little bit faster. If I don't, we will be here till the cows come home at the end of the day. Okay, and around we go again. Okay, we can get one more in there because we're just sort of pushing everything around the loop a little bit. So let's do it again. This will be the last time, so we need 4 chain again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Double crochet to finish that little guy into the center to create that petal. Now, we've come up to that chain 7 that kicked us off, and 3 of those chain are going to be counted as a double crochet. So all I need to do is at the top of the 3rd chain, slip stitch that together, and that then forms that 2nd one. So have we got 6 loops? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. 2nd row completed. If you count that as your 1st row, this is your 2nd row. 3rd row, we're done. See, it's that easy. You can see why I sat up till blooming midnight doing this once I started. Oh, I'll make another one. I'll do this colour, I'll do that colour, and because I did that colour, I need to do a set of those colours. See what happens? And then you do this blooming chicken crocheting at midnight. Well, that was closer to actually 1 a.m. How many can I get out of that scrap? And then I have to keep that because I might want to stitch with it. To tell you what, it is silly. All right, we're going to go into row 3. By now you would have caught up to me. So we need to scoot over into that hole. To get there, we're going to do a little sneaky slip stitch that brings your hook away from those 2 posts and puts you squarely in that hole, ready to go. Now, this is the petal bit, the top of each petal, all anchoring into that chain below, that row of chains. So the first thing is a single crochet. So we're going to sneak through there, pick up the thread and do 1 stitch. Then I've written a 1.5 chain on my little pattern, 1.5 chain, see it there? So I'm going to pick up the thread and I'm going to go through, pick it up again. So now I've got 3 on my hook, and then I'm going to go through all 3. Now from my memory, that's a 1.5 chain. If it's not, don't call it a 1.5 chain. It's just Corrine stitch, but I'm pretty sure it's a 1.5 chain. So we did a slip stitch to get us in there, a single crochet and a 1.5 crochet stitch. Now we need 5 double crochets. So we're going to pick up the thread, we're going to go through the hole, and there's our 3 again before we went through the whole lot. This time we're going to go through 2, pick up again and go through 2. So now we've got this triangular action happening. So we're going to count that as 1. We need 4 more. So let's do that again. Pick up, go through 2 loops on your hook, pick up again and go through another loop. So that's number 2. Let's do it again. Number 3, pick up, down you go, grab it, come back through. Number 4 and number 5. It's like we're climbing a mountain. This is Corrine's mental version of it. We've climbed up to get there. So now we need to go down the other side, and we're going to do one of those 1.5 crochets. We're going to pick up, we're going to go through like we just did before, but instead of slowly working them off, we're going to go through all of them. And that's now me heading down the other side of the hill. Then we're going to finish it with just a single crochet. It's a good little pattern to give a go to, because you get to do the basics in it and you can come out with a pretty little flower. So like before, we've finished the petal, but we're sort of sitting over here on the side. We need to get into there. So let's just do a sneaky little slip stitch where you just scoot across. Now we can do a single crochet. I don't think I did a single crochet before, did I? So I've already split my thread. I'm just going to go back. There's that 1.5. I wrapped before I went in. That's a single crochet. Maybe I did do it right. See, I'm talking. There's a slip stitch. Now we're going to do a single crochet and we're going to create this mountain. Pick up the thread. We're doing that 1.5 guy where we go through the 3, and now we need 5 double crochets. If I make an error while doing this, just ignore it. Just listen to maybe my voice and not what you're seeing. This is why I'd never do crocheting tutorials. I'm not precise enough. 2, 3. I'm going to speed up a little bit now. 4, 5. All right, we're up the hill. Now we're going to go down the hill with that 1.5 guy. So we pick up, we go through, pick up, and slide through the 3 stitches. Then we're going to do a single crochet to finish that petal. Jump over here with a little sneaky slip stitch, and we start the hill again. So we're going to do a single crochet. We're going to do that tricky 1.5 guy where we slide through the 3 little stitches. Now we need 5 double crochet. Pick up, through, pick up, back, getting too quick. Probably lost all the beginners. Go and find someone who can teach you to crochet. And once you master these words and the actions, you'll be fine. And start with some little projects like this. I've lost count of how many I've done. 1, 2, 3. We'll assume it's 4. I think it's 4. All right, now down the other side of the hill with that 1.5 stitch and finish it with a single crochet. We've just completed petal number 3. Jump across with a sneaky little slip stitch. Every time you do a slip stitch now, guys, you'll be like saying sneaky little slip stitch. Single crochet to start our mountain. Pick up for the 1.5 crochet. Gosh, I hope that is a 1.5 crochet. Someone will tell me. You'll say, no, Corrine, it's actually that. Well, that's what it is. It gets me to the top of the petal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to go down the other side of the hill, pick up, through, wrap, pull them all off. Single crochet, done. Sneaky slip stitch, single crochet, wrap it up to get the 3 stitches, slide through all of them. Now we've got 5 double crochets. Take off 2, pick up again, finish the stitch. I hope I'm in camera. Got my TV up there now that I'm projecting to, so it is a little easier for me to glance up to see if I'm, in camera. Having said that, because I'm yibby yabbering, I've forgotten how many stitches I've done. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. I'm going to do one more. And then we're going back down the other side of the hill. Here comes Fudgy. Any minute he's going to start yapping just to make it more complex. Hey Fudgy. Into the next little petal. They are so cute, these little guys. Yes. And if I was making the scarf, what I did, once I had my first, that was a couple questions. How did you do your scarf? How did you link them? Let's cover that. So let's get to the top of that petal. So we're doing the single crochet. We're doing the 1.5. Now we've got 5 double crochets. So let's get 2 done and then we're going to stop. 1, 2. Now, if I remember rightly, the third one caught a flower that I'd previously made with a sneaky little slip stitch. So I then, say you're making the scarf now, I then went through the top of that with a little slip stitch. So now they're joined in the top of the third. And then I carried on finishing the final two. So that got the little guy there connected. Does that make sense? So if you did want to make a scarf, that's how you do it. So the next flower that I would make, I'd catch into here. And he then would be caught with this guy with two other petal stitches, you see? See how they catch together? So the black one would be your first one. This guy caught into there, he's hanging loose, so when this guy is created, it catches into here and catches there when you do this guy and catches there when you do that guy. It's just a case of just take your time with it and you'd slowly catch all of your little flowers if you want to make a pretty little floral scarf. Okay, so that was the third. This is the fourth. You can see how this becomes quite addictive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that 5? Except when you can't remember the pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more. Okay, and now I'm going to slip stitch that into a bit lower into there so that it is complete. Pull that up. And the only thing left to do now is to thread in your loose ends. So I've still got my loop here, so I'm going to, hello fudge, do that. Where is my needle that I was using last night? Don't think it is here. It's over there. Fudgy, would you mind going, move your tail, darling? Would you mind going to the other table and bringing back my pins and needles? Won't be a moment, guys. Yeah, I know. Fudgy's a fan of crocheting, it would seem. So I've got in here a tapestry needle. So blunt, big eye, perfect. So all I'm going to do now for the newbies who are now fallen down the crocheting rabbit hole, think of the opportunities this opens up. If you can master some of these little elements for your slow stitching, especially when you can't find stuff, like, or you're in a colour palette and you're like, oh, I could do with some burgundy coloured flowers. Well, you can find the cotton where you've got the potential of making some little elements. And if you go into YouTube world and type in crocheted flowers, oh boy. I did have a second pattern called small flower. It's okay. I think it needs, there's something quite not right with it. It probably needs a little bit of work, but this one is a beauty. And I thought if I'm going to show you one of them, this is the one. Plus you get bang for your buck. It's big. Okay, there'd be nothing stopping you getting a finer needle, a hook, crocheting hook, and using some of these other threads too. You'd get some little cuties then. I don't think I'd want to go any smaller myself because that's eyesight issues. That's using tiny little hooks. Oh, I should probably mention what hook I'm using. 3.5 is my hook. I might add that to the beginning of the video because one should have mentioned that before she started. So 3.5 hook will appear in the font at the beginning, so you will have already know that. There we go. I now am happy. I have completed sets. So that, and that are all from the gelato, and that. So if you're doing a project and you know those look good together, at least you know you've got some little flowers to sort of suit. Now I'm just going to lift the camera back up and I'm going to show you where I went from this point, because you know how it is. You go down these rabbit holes, you find more ideas, especially when you're Googling YouTube videos for crocheting. I found a pattern for a little bowl. Isn't it just the sweetest? So if you feel comfortable that you want to have a go at some crocheting, the pattern is on a channel called Crafting with Caylene. The link is below. It was really simple to do, but I do know how to crochet, so maybe you need to sort of take that with a pinch of salt. Now, I just want to first of all show you the yarn I used for this. When I was in Paris on a textile tour, I went to the Chanel factory outlet and picked up all sorts of fabrics, but they had threads there as well. And in my frantic shopping, this thread, when I got back to the hotel, I'm thinking, oh, you're a funny thing. And I thought, when am I ever going to use it? But I love the colour. So as I pointed to all of them, I said the blue one, the pink one, the yellow one, and the whatever. Excuse me. And then I discovered the blue one has paper within it. Let me show you. And I was actually felt like I'd stuffed up a little bit, like I got it home and I'm like, oh, what a shame. I'm never going to use that. Well, see that there? That's a piece of paper. There's a thread binding then to three additional threads twisted together to make this. Now I thought this might be good for a little bowl, because remember the raffia that we used to crochet back in the 80s, 70s? Used to make bags and that's what it feels like. So down that rabbit hole, by now it's like 1 in the morning, well and truly. I found the little pattern. It's the same sort of start here. Actually, no, it was a magic ring. Now that I think back, don't even go there to show you how to do that. Go and Google it. Then it was double crochet, some singles, doubles, single, 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 starting to climb up the side. And all the way through the project, you turn your work backwards and forwards and then come back on yourself. To do it, you will need some stitch markers, because she's really good at teaching. She'll say, you know, at the end of that first one, put your marker, and then you come whizzing around because you're going in a circle. You then stitch into it, then put in your next stitch marker. So it is advanced, but it's simple. But you will learn how to use stitch markers to mark your point of increasing. And she says to you, okay, you've just done your lap around the circle. You should have 32 stitches. You should now have 48 stitches. And when you get through all of that, you can see those lines. There's 3 rows of single crochet there, and the bowl is coming up. That top edge for those 3 rows is 48 stitches. So there's a bit of counting, there's a bit of stitch marker use. So you decide whether this is something you really want to advance onto. Then she does the classic double crochet into the one spot, jump across, double crochet, and I think there's 3 singles in the gap. And then she comes around again doing the same stitch into the top of them that creates this really pretty little shell. Then Corrine, I think it was like 2:30 by then, grabs one of her little flowers and attaches it. It was this guy. Because I used him, I had to redo him because now my sets were all wrong. I was missing one. So he went on to there. You know why? Because I missed a stitch in here. I don't know if you can see it. Look, here, confessions now. Let me grab my marker. See, there's 2 double crochet there. There's only 1 there. So I missed it. This is because I was stitching at the wee hours of the morning. So I had an error there. And I thought, oh, well, let's put the flower on. Then I was like, well, you know what this little vase needs? It needs frosting. So I frosted. I added frosting to the little bowl and the flower. Look, I got my beads, and these are tiny little guys. And I went around the top edge of the little flowers. And then I went around the top edge of the bowl. What's that drink where they put lemon juice around the top edge of the glass and then they roll the glass in, is it salt? I don't know. Maybe it's sugar. Anyway, and you get that little frosting edge on your glass. That's what was in my mind at that hour. So I just want to show you how I added frosting to my flowers. So let's get into the slow stitch world now. And I need to grab a very small needle. So this is now the Corrine version of a flower. She's now adding frosting with beads. And then after I finished that, and my eyes were literally going sideways, I went to bed. And I thought, I'm going to make this video, get it out of the system, and then I can put away all this crocheting. And I've got myself some little flowers for future projects. So now, whoops, let's get that knot a little bit better. Let's pick a flower, any flower. We've got a pink one. Let's get ourselves some beads. Use a lot of beads, so keep that in mind, that you might want to pick some that you've got a good quantity of, because it did munch through the beads. Having said that, I did go around that edge. Can you see it? Did I bring it up to the camera? See him sitting there? Now, I did some in the center as well. That could happen, maybe when you attach it to the item. But anyway, let's see how we go. So first of all, I'm going to anchor my cotton on the actual flower with a couple good stitches. You don't want it coming undone. Then I'm going to pick up 3. I haven't tried any other quantity of beads. This is what I did and it worked, so I'm just going to hit repeat. So I haven't really had a play. 3 is all we want. And those little 3 is just enough to do a little cluster. So where the 3, let's bring it up to the camera, where that 3rd one here ends, that's where I'm going to take my stitch. And what I'm trying to do is have them start on one side but finish slightly on the other side. Now just to anchor him, I'm going to do a 2nd little stitch and it's secure-ish. Pick up 1, 2, 3. Now my thread is to the front of the flower petal, waiting. So then I can bring those little beads down. Where it lays down there, I'm going to bring my needle through and secure with 1, 2 stitches. And I'm ready to pick up my 3rd. It's pretty simple. 1, 2, 3. I did this technique to something a while ago, but I can't remember what it was. There comes my little beads into position. Once again, meow meow, 1 little stitch, 2 little stitches. And that's how I added frosting to my flowers. Now, if I had a project that was using beads in it, like a slow stitch piece, This would be a lovely way of bringing, I need another bead yet, so I've just got the 2. This would be a lovely way to bring the beads out onto this, like a bit of embellishing. Okay, lay it down just gently. Where's that 3rd little bead want to end? And apply a stitch. Another stitch. That brings your needle back to the front, ready for your 3rd little cluster of beads, and away we go again. That's it. So that little bowl, you can see how they sort of just, I don't know if you can see. You can see how they are laying there at an angle. Same principle. Now I'm going to have to finish this little flower, which I won't do on camera because it'll take me a little while to do. So I've just laid that little guide down. I can see roughly where the little fellow wants to sit, that end bead, the last one on my needle, and place a little stitch. There we go. So here we go. You can hear Gaz's voice probably. He's just taken a phone call in the next room. And Fudgy's scratching around, doing something. Hey, Fudgy boy, what you doing? Seems to be rolling something. What's he got, a cotton reel or something? What have you got there, Mr. Fudge? He's up to something. Talk about distracting. He must have a, I don't know, I can't see what he's doing, but he's fiddling around. Nothing. I've got nothing. There's the 3 little beads. And 1 stitch, 2 stitches. You could go back through the beads themselves, but no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just happy there's 2 little stitches holding them. So I might just finish this petal with you. Fudgy's getting antsy. He wants to go out to Dad. Dad's on the phone, so he's not answering Fudgy's cry for help, it would seem. Now I thought, this is how the bowl came to be. If I'm making little flowers, I need a bowl to put them in, and that's how the bowl happened. For goodness sakes, I tell you. Talk about diving down a rabbit hole. There we go. And there's Puss Puss. Meow. 1. We're going into town to get some groceries, so Gaz is patiently waiting for me to do this video. So I just want this crocheting video done while it's all still fresh in my mind. And then I can... Fudgy! Seriously? What are you doing? It's attention. Yeah, little bugger. Okay, I think this might be the last little... Meow. Meow. Look, I just need to touch the fudge. Let's just put some hands on the fudge. Hello, Fudgy. Pat the fudge. That's it. Bit of a scratch. There we go. So I'm going to make that my last little cluster of 3 beads. Okay, I think we will call it a day at that. I can finish this off later, but I'm just going to knot it for now. So I want my needle to be accounted for and safe. But I would then, if I was continuing, I would definitely just sneak the needle through those stitches and carry on all the way around. Would not be a problem. So there you go. Frosting on the edge of your flower. Isn't it cute? Fudgy, don't knock the camera. Let's just tidy up. And in my little bowl, we will place all of our little... One moment, I need to... Actually, I'm going to go because I think we're done. I'll just say goodbye and I'll see you all in the next video. Hi guys, I'm back. Sorry for the abrupt finish there. I had Gaz standing at the door waving his arms frantically at me because there was a phone call that I need to be part of. So that's why I took off so quick. So I thought I'd better come back, finish it properly. I think that's everything I wanted to say. My little bowl of flowers is ready for me to, as Kate would say, harvest. Where's the little one with the beads? We need to finish him off this evening. All right, I will now say goodbye. I'm going to pack up all my crocheting bits. That rabbit hole has now come to an end. And like I said, I will link Kate's channel below. I will link Crafting with Caylene, who is the lady that does this little bowl. And I'll pop my pattern in the description as well. So if you'd like to have a little look at that, you can. All right, guys, look after yourselves and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.